I turned on Clint Eastwood and I was like transported. It was like nothing I had ever heard before. Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 2 of Small Fish, Big Pod, which is a name I'm still very hesitant on because I think it sounds kind of fucking stupid, but I decided to say fuck it and just go for it anyway because, frankly, last night I recorded, or actually no, 2 nights ago I recorded the first podcast and I was like, okay, we got the podcast in the bag. Boom. Now we need a name. And I literally took a shower and was like, okay, what are names? And I don't even remember what all the names were that I was brainstorming. I think one was like, I don't know. I was trying to think of like cozy vibes, like something that feels like warm and just like kind of chilling and whatever. Like something that feels like just like cozy talks or something like that. Like cozy talks. Cozy talks was taken by literally another podcast. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. This is fine. This is whatever. And I still don't know if I like the name. Literally, I might change it in the middle of the podcast. I don't care. Shit can be random all over the place. Who knows where things are gonna go? So yeah. Literally, when I started the podcast, I didn't even have a name for it because I was just like, oh, well, whatever happens, so we'll see. Also, I have this device that I'm trying to use to hold my little Rode microphone. I don't know if it's gonna like mean anything or make a difference, but I figured it would be nice to at least have something so I don't have to literally be holding it in my hand being like, hey, even though I'm still holding it, it's just like not as directly. This is not supposed to be a mic stand. This is designed to hold headphones. Like, in that little compartment is where you put the headphones and they just sit there. So yeah, this is something that I got from my old job and now I just have it. So that's a thing. Also, I did a late night Starbucks run. Did you know that they have peppermint mocha all year round? That's fun. Yeah, so if you're craving peppermint mocha this season and it's not Christmas, this is an insider tip from someone who used to work at a Starbucks. They literally have it all year round. You could get peppermint mocha in the spring, in fall, whenever you want. It's always there. This one's too sweet. I should have requested half pumps, but here we are, it be like that. It literally just is that way. So, oh, sorry if you can hear my weird drinking sounds. Okay, this is going away now. And then we're going to get into it. We're going to get into the real topics that I have. I have an actual plan for today. 2 days ago when I recorded, I had no plan. I was just kind of like, well, I'm going to talk and see if I can make it stretch for 45 minutes. Today I have an actual plan. So today we're going to talk about music. We're going to talk about all kinds of music. I'm wearing my 21 Pilots sweatshirt. It has 21 Pilots on the side. It has like the thing on the back. Can you even see it? Yeah, it has the fucking thing on the back. I got this like hand-me-down from a friend in like 2018. This shirt, all of this branding is like OG, like 2016 top merch. Like, this is like the OG shit. Or not even like the OG, because I guess like the OG would be like 2009 to 2012. Which like, I don't know, is 21 Pilots cringe? Is listening to 21 Pilots and Panic at the Disco and MCR considered cringe? I don't know, because that's all I was. Like, in middle school and high school, that was my vibe. That was all I liked, and I literally didn't care. And, I don't necessarily, like, relate to or love 21 Pilots as much as I used to. It still holds a special place in my heart, simply from a nostalgic place, and also from a, like, home boys, like, I'm from Ohio, so, like, it's also, like, that place. And, like, did you know they still live here? Like, Josh Dunn and Debbie Ryan, which I think it's so slay and so funny that they're together. But they literally live in Columbus. If you look, I think it's Vanity Fair has, like, a house tour of their, like, house that they have up there. I want to do a drive-by of that house so bad, but I don't know where it is. But yeah, they literally still live in Ohio. And, like, I think it was in 2021, me and a couple friends went to a show of theirs in Columbus, and it was so fun because, like, I don't necessarily love all of their music as much as I used to, but, and I can't get into their new stuff because it doesn't have the nostalgia factor for me, and that's just me being honest. That's me being blatant and honest, but the thing I do like about them is I think they are genuinely, like, really good, down-to-earth people, and they care about their fans. Like, I know that everybody probably says that about their favorite artist, but, like, they care about their fans, and especially their, like, hometown fans, and they put in, like, extra effort to make the show really fucking cool and special. So, yeah, and honestly, like, this is gonna be, like, maybe a little bit cringe to admit, but that's the only, like, big show that I've really been to. Because growing up, like, at my parents and shit, I didn't really, like, I guess have the money to, like, go to concerts and stuff, I guess. And, like, especially with how crazy, like, tickets can be. Like, even, like, the Taylor Swift, like, Eras tour, you think I'm spending, like, $500-600 on a ticket? That's like a plane ticket to California. I could, like, go and have, like, a fucking trip with my money for that price. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't know. It was never something that I spent a ton of money on growing up. Now, indie artists, I will go to a little indie show any day of the week. This year, me and my sister went to go see, this little music fest. It was called Bittersweet Days, and it was literally, this is what it was: MXM Tune, Ricky Montgomery, Cave Town, and there was, like, a fourth guy. God, how am I forgetting his name? We're gonna look this up. Grant Perez. That was the other guy that I couldn't remember. Yeah, so it was these four. I hadn't heard much of his stuff, I'm gonna be honest. He played first, but, like, as soon as, like, everyone else came on, I was like, because, like, yeah, all of these, like, these other 3 hours, I've been listening to them since I was in high school, so I was hyped. I think I, like, literally got an ad for this show on Instagram or something, and that's how I found out about it. So, yeah, and it was an awesome time. I had so much fun. Me and my sister went to the Indianapolis show in July. So we, like, drove all the way out there, and it was, like, a whole thing, man. And I was just, like, so hyped for it. It was so cool because it's great to, like, go to, like, a show and see so many artists that, like, you've actually been listening to for years. And it was just hype. It was so hype. And it was outdoors. It was a little hot because it was summer, but, like, it was such a good vibe. And the thing about, like, these artists, and also just, like, I guess indie shows in general and going to see smaller artists, is that I think the smaller an artist is, generally, like, the more respectful their fan base is kind of my opinion, because, like, this show was just so respectful, and everyone was so nice and so kind, and there was no, like, craziness happening. There were no people, like, screaming really loud and, like, trying to be annoying or, like, trying to, like, overly get people's attention or whatever. One thing that actually happened towards the end was, like, somebody proposed to their partner in the middle of the show, and everyone was like, woo, yeah. But, like, you know, that's obviously different than, like, stories I've heard about at other shows where people just, like, hold up signs, they don't care if it's blocking the person behind them, and they're just generally trying to, like, be annoying, and it's like, what the hell. So, yeah. Sorry, give me a second. I had to clear my throat. But yeah, going to see shows, and specifically indie shows, is really awesome. I love doing that. Oh my god! They had Dodie for the like UK tour? Oh, that's crazy. That would have also been awesome. I don't know who these people are. I don't know who that is either. But yeah, I think that for this show, Cavetown was probably like the main event, and Cavetown played last and had like the biggest presence, I guess, out of all of these artists, which is like fine or whatever. Well, it's more than fine because I love Cavetown. Cavetown was honestly like, if I'm gonna gush for a minute, Cavetown has been such a really important artist to me. Robbie is like his real name, but like his music, man, got me through a lot of big parts of high school, and I don't know, just like there was always like an immense sense of comfort that I got out of his music. I've probably been listening since like 2018. I think Lemon Boy dropped, and my sister was the one who like kind of got me into him. I picked up and inherited a lot of music taste from my sister, I'm gonna be honest. She was the one who like got me on the indie artists. She was the one who like got me on Conan Gray before he blew up. And sorry, not to be one of those people, but like I loved Conan Gray even before he blew up. Like I was listening to Conan Gray back when he was just like on YouTube, and I just was like watching his YouTube videos too, back when he did videos about like going to art school and like sharing tips and trips for like improving your like drawing and illustration, and his like Draw My Life and shit that he did. I love that for him. I love that he managed to like build his way up and like grow from like where he started to like where he is now. I love it for him. I'd also love to see him live, and I think that musically what he's done and like how he's grown as an artist is really, really interesting, because when you look at his older stuff compared to like now, what am I looking for? Like, I don't know, man, just like the way he's grown is like so cool. Like, I really, really liked this video he did, Never Ending Song, and the kind of like throwback to like he has like a whole like 80s throwback thing going, and it's like awesome. And I don't know, I love it. And I love that he's like growing and diverging so much from his old stuff with a lot of this like kind of like 80s influence, I guess, as opposed to some of his older tracks that were a little bit more like slower paced and more like generic and poppy maybe. But that's just my take. That's literally just my take. And I love all of his stuff that he did, again. But like, yeah, that's just me. So yeah, getting back to like Cavetown, sorry, what we were talking about before. Yeah, he's just been like a really influential artist to me. And I think his music was really important to me. And really important, not just from like a perspective of like me being in like a rough place in my life during high school and him helping to get me through that, but also just like helping me grow as a person, because like when he was outed in like 2021 or whenever, or 2020, I don't even remember when it happened, but I remember that happening and people in the community kind of being like, oh my god, like what the hell? That was like a really, really big change and experience for me, because I grew up in a very like conservative community, I guess, and I didn't you know, like I grew up so sheltered and there were so many things that like I didn't understand or didn't like know or consider about like the queer community. And I'll be honest, when I was like a kid, when I was that age, like 15, 16, and I was just like listening to his music, I didn't know or care about the trans community, and I didn't even know if I believed in the idea of being trans as like a real thing, you know? Like, I'll be honest about that. Like, I didn't know enough and I didn't care about it. And I did have experiences, not intentionally necessarily, but like I did have experiences of like people who I met and I like misgendered, and I've made mistakes like that in my past. I'll be honest about it. And when he was outed, which is so unfortunate that it was by like a fan or somebody and not of his own influence. It's so terrible that like that was kind of like forced onto him. But when he came out, that was a really important and massive perspective change for me, because it made me realize, oh, wow, this person who I just viewed for their music, for their art, and I didn't even know. It was just like a crazy experience for me, because it made me realize that there's so many people who I either interact with online or who I admire or who maybe even I've met in person who could be trans or could be anything, and you don't know. You don't know what somebody is until they tell you. But yeah, it was just a really big perspective change to me, and it really opened my eyes a lot more and helped me empathize with the movement and understand a lot more what trans people experience and go through, to have someone that I was personally connected to in that way. Obviously, like, I don't personally know him or anything like that, but it did just help to open my eyes in that way. And it makes me so frustrated now with the, you know, not to get political, but like the amount of like anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ rhetoric that is on the rise in this country, and the amount of legislation that the far right is trying to get passed to make getting surgery harder for not even just kids, but for fucking adults, and like literally like banning drag in some states, which I think is very hypocritical coming from the same right leaning groups that are so focused on personal freedom and being allowed to do whatever you want and freedom of speech, that they are banning people just for dressing a certain way at shows, at bars. It's so stupid. It's so stupid, and it makes me so upset. And I just want to shake these people and be like, look around you, pay attention, because there's so many people that you love and care about that could be trans and you don't know. Because you don't know. And I don't know, like being at that show and the amount of love and support, and like all of these artists, like all of them have a very, very large queer fan base. I know that MXMtoon is queer. I don't know about these other two artists. I think, you know, I don't think Ricky Montgomery is, but like the amount of like love and support and just like openness that is a part of like the LGBTQ community, it's such a supportive and welcoming place. And I just wish that the people who are so afraid and who want to like get these laws and these ban passed, I wish that they would just like take a moment to try to actually like meet queer people where they're at and understand a little bit about them before they pass these dangerous laws that do contribute to higher suicide rates, that do contribute to the continued like oppression and ostracization. Is that a word? That contribute to these groups being ostracized completely unnecessarily. So yeah, again, not to get political, not to get on a whole rant, but I just think it needs to be said. Hi guys. Welcome to the second half of the podcast. The reason I'm laughing is because I know that was pretty heavy, I know that got a little serious, but it's time for an aggressive scene change because that was kind of touching on like music festivals I've been to, some of the music that I listened to in high school but don't really listen to anymore. Now we're gonna get to the current shit. Specifically, my obsession for the first quarter of 2023 and an aggressive 180 from what we were talking about before. Eminem! Sorry, I need to have a little Coke Zero moment. Refreshing. Oh my god. Eminem. The Marshall Mathers LP. This album was my special interest. Let's take a quick read of the Google Wikipedia synopsis of this album. I shit you not, this album was my special interest. This was my hyperfixation for the first 3 months of this year. And I still cannot exactly figure out why. One of my roommates is into like classic Eminem, the like Y2K shit, and he played me a couple songs. I think he played Business, and then I heard The Real Slim Shady for the first time, and I was like, it was just like the sound of it and the lyricism and the way that he writes, like, for as controversial as the album even was when it came out, and has only, in my opinion, become more controversial as time has gone on, and for the amount of like blatant sexism and homophobia on this album, you cannot deny the lyricism and the writing and the way that he like literally illustrates and paints like a clear picture of a scene and like guides you through this like narrative that's going on is really, really effective, and it's really well done. But anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're gonna get into the specifics a little later. Also, roommates are watching Harry Potter outside again. You're gonna have to deal with that. I watched with them last night. I love Harry Potter. Harry Potter is like my second special interest. I love Harry Potter, you guys. Right now, it's so nostalgic, and it's the season. It's like fall. If you don't watch Harry Potter during fall or Christmas, get on that shit. Why not? Why are you doing that? This is too much caffeine for me. I should be having this. Okay, Marshall Mathers LP. The Marshall Mathers LP is the third studio album by American rapper Eminem, released May 23rd, 2000 by Aftermath Entertainment and Interscope Records. Sorry, my eyes are bad. I can't see this very well. Released by Aftermath Entertainment and Interscope Records, the album was produced mostly by Dr. Dre and Eminem, along with the 45 King, the Bass Brothers, and Mel Man. Recorded over a 2-month period. Bitch, they made this whole album in 2 months, which only makes it even more impressive to me. And maybe that served to its benefit. I'm just kind of spitballing here, but maybe that served to the benefit of the album, because when you listen, like, honestly, here's what I'll say. There's some bangers on this album that are, like, really fucking good listens, but the best way to hear it if you've never heard it before is listen to it from top to bottom. Listen to the whole track down, because it is a story album. It is a story album that tells the story of Eminem's comeuppance from, like, poverty and all that shit to, like, blowing up and, like, getting on MTV and all of that. I think it's the same story of 8 Mile, the movie, but, like, I never watched the movie, and I don't really plan on it. I might. So I don't know that for sure, but like, that's what I understand to be the case. So the album features more introspective lyricism, including Eminem's thoughts on his rise from rags to riches, the criticism of his music, and his estrangement from his family and wife. A transgressive work, it incorporates horrorcore and hardcore hip-hop while also featuring satirical songs. The album includes samples or appearances by Dito, RBX, Sticky Fresh, Snoop Dogg, all those people. Nate Dogg and D12. All of the people. Many people on the album. So yeah. And then we can get into all this shit. So, this album, I've been like into rap. I was into rap a little bit in high school. I really credit Gorillaz for getting me into rap music initially because, and this is gonna sound so fucking stupid, but I, had, like, there was a YouTuber that I think in, like, 2017 or 2018, I, like, had a crush on or something, and, like, he listened to, like, Gorillaz or, like, talked about it on, like, a fucking podcast episode or some shit, and I was like, I understand the assignment. I guess I need to listen to this now. I need to know what this is. And I remember specifically, it was 2018. I was on my way home from Thanksgiving. Was it 2018 or 2019? Fuck. I think it was 2018. I was on my way home from Thanksgiving in the back seat of my dad's car, and I literally pulled up on my phone. The cell service was so bad because we're out in the middle of buckfuck country, and I turned on Clint Eastwood, and I was like transported. Like, and that sounds like really dumb, but I'm serious, man, because it was like nothing I had ever heard before. And I like immediately was hooked. I love Gorillaz now. I still love their music. I haven't listened to like some of their newest tracks, but the first album I really got into was the one that released that year. God, what was it called? I love that, like, I started this second half with the intention of talking about the Marshall Mathers LP, and now we're, like, this one that had this on it. What is this album? The Now Now. This album, dude, this album changed my life. This and Cave Town got me through high school. Completely different vibes. And that's the other thing, dude. I appreciate Gorillaz so much for getting me into like just like helping to like open the door to expand my music taste into other stuff, because I had not given a fuck about R&B. I didn't give a fuck about like electronic. I didn't give a fuck about rap. And then Gorillaz opened the door and changed my life and helped expand my music taste. Cause before this shit, I like only listened to 21 Pilots, which like, to be fair, like, I don't know, what is 21 Pilots? They're kind of like multi-genre a little bit. They're like, I would say that 21 Pilots is like pop punk and hip hop a little bit and rap. Yeah, I don't know, they're a little bit hard to describe, I guess, too. So like, I kind of understood that sound a little bit and liked it, but like, I don't know. Gorillaz just like really helped like open my mind to stuff, and I think that like, I'm just spitballing a bunch of shit that's already been said before, but like as a project that is like so collaborative, and like the idea of like an A-band with like virtual characters and there's no like direct face behind it necessarily, it's just like really ahead of its time, super unique. I love their old stuff. My favorite album of theirs is either this, because I'm just like so connected to the Now Now as like the first album of theirs that I listened to, or Plastic Beach, obviously, which is another great listen from top to bottom. I love that album. Demon Days, I never got into as much, but I still like it. And I love the original album of theirs, whatever their first album is. Gorillaz first album. I love this album, you guys. Double bass, rock the house. I want to just crush it. You know what I mean? 5-4. This is me at that song. This is me at the whole album. But yeah, sorry. I need if I'm gonna keep doing this, I need a table in the front so that I don't have to keep reaching back. This is the problem with recording this sitting on my fucking bed, is that I don't have nice things. I need to have a platform. Maybe that's gonna be my next Amazon buy. Oh my god, I could go on a whole other rant about Amazon dumb shit that I bought this week that I shouldn't have. Which, you know what? Hey, next week we'll do a little Amazon unboxing tour. That'll be on the podcast. What the fuck am I doing? Okay, so yeah, getting back to what we were talking about. I'm so loud too. Holy shit. I'm just thinking about the fact that I know everyone out there can hear me, and it's making me cringe, but I don't really care, but I kind of do. So Gorillaz, started listening to them around 2018, 2019, became instantly addicted, listening to this shit on the bus, breaking down crying when free Spotify would buffer because I lived in the country and I had AT&T shitty service and I couldn't listen to Gorillaz on the bus. That would make me sad. That would make me go, oofy, I'm upset. But within the past year, 2023, I have been getting way more into other music and specifically I love Y2K and 90s hip hop and rap, which was 90s the birth of hip hop? I don't know. These are the questions that I should probably answer for myself that I haven't yet. The only other rap music that I really listened to in high school, the only other rap music I listened to is I tried to get into a little bit of Kanye. I listened to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and that was it. That was literally it. And then within the past couple years, I've really been branching out and exploring, and listening to the Marshall Mathers LP led me to Tupac and to other music by Dr. Dre and to more modern stuff Kendrick Lamar and Childish Gambino, who are all really, really fantastic artists. But it started with the Marshall Mathers LP, and I really, there's so much to talk about with this album because it is so multi-layered and it is so nuanced because of how it is riddled in controversy. Riddled in controversy around the lyricism and the homophobia and the blatant sexism. And I think that to be fair and balanced and honest, there is a real argument to be had there about the impact that this album had at the time and the tangible, real effects that a massive pop culture moment like this had on real rates of domestic violence, real rates of self-harm, real rates of mass acts of violence from people being influenced by music like this. However, with that being said, I think that it's really, nuance is important. Nuance is important, especially when we're talking about art. Separating the art from the artist is important, and I'm a big proponent of that, and I think that for as much, like, obviously terrible things that this album and these songs advocate for when you take them at face value, I still love it, and I'm still obsessed with it as an art piece because it's so, like, raw and unfiltered as an expression of passion, anger, and pain. That's what I like about the album, and that's why I connect with it. And I think also, do you guys know about, like, the phenomenon in psychology of, like, or not even, like, getting, like, into psychology and, like, but, like, the whole, like, true crime podcast vibe, and, like, there's so many, like, men that I've talked to who are, like, so confused, like, why are women obsessed with true crime and true crime podcasts and listening to, like, the goriest, like, creepiest shit? I'm gonna tell you why. It's really simple, and I thought it was obvious, but maybe it's not as obvious for most people. And my special interest with this album specifically ties into that, because if you didn't know, for more context, basically, the Marshall Mathers LP, in addition to, like, being a commentary about Eminem's rise to fame and all the other stuff that it advocates for, it, based off of my understanding, I could be wrong, but the album, as far as I'm aware, follows the fictional character of Slim Shady. So, like, there's like 3 layers to Eminem, right? So there's, like, Marshall Mathers, which is Eminem's, like, real name. There's his rapper alias, Eminem. And then Slim Shady, which is kind of like his alter ego that's like a fictional character that is also a serial killer. And Slim Shady is violent, he's a womanizer, he commits crime, he robs banks, he shoots people. Am I allowed to say that on YouTube? God, no, I don't know. Yeah. He's very violent, commits acts of violence against men, women, animals. It's a whole thing. And yeah, it kind of, like, plays into the narrative of, like the classic, like, serial killer narrative of, like, growing up in a rough home, getting bullied, and then, like, seeking revenge, I guess, is kind of a part of it. But it's also, like, about all this other stuff too, right? About, like, his rise to fame, whatever. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna make sense of it. Like, go listen to it and it makes sense, okay? Either you get it or you don't. But I think that part of why that narrative is something that I personally connect to and I'm so fascinated by, and the reason that I connect to true crime genre and a lot of women connect to the true crime genre, is there's a sense of comfort in tapping into, like, your worst fears, right? Exposure therapy, very real thing. A lot of women listen to true crime because there's a sense of comfort in trying to understand the psychology and understand the mindset behind serial killers. And also, and this is going to sound kind of morbid, but to be prepared if it ever happens to you. The reason that we like listening to the stories about, like, you know, what Ted Bundy did to, like, seduce his victims or whatever, is because we want to know in case it ever happens to us, you know? Because Ted Bundy, my understanding, I watched the documentary on Netflix when it came out. It's been a while, but if I remember correctly, I think he, like, would do all sorts of shit. He would, like, dress up as, like, a police officer and try to, like, make people think that he was, like, a policeman. He would, like, go around in, like, an arm sling and ask women to, like, help him, like, load things into his car. So it's like, there's a comfort in listening to true crime and watching these movies and documentaries and listening to podcasts, because it makes you feel prepared to understand, okay, this is what happened to somebody else, this tragedy, this loss, this trauma. But now I'm mentally armed if it ever happens to me. And the reason that this album is something that I've personally connected to is because when you listen to it and you're hearing this passionate like anger and you're singing along from the perspective of the serial killer, from the perspective of the man with that level of power and force, it is a power trip. When you sing along, when you listen, there's a sense of comfort in, even for a moment, flipping the script, even for just a moment, taking on that male identity when you connect to the music, feeling brave, feeling powerful, the role reversal, seeing things from that dominant male perspective, which is something that I will never experience in my personal life, you know? So yeah, that's a big part of it. And that's part of why I personally connect to the music. It took me like a while to figure that out. Like, why do I like this so much? Why am I obsessed with this album? And I think that's part of the reason why, if I'm being like honest, if I'm gonna like really psychoanalyze myself. So, but yeah. And it is dated. It's incredibly dated in the amount of like homophobic slurs that are used, and as I've already like mentioned countless times, and even in like a lot of the pop culture references and stuff, which I guess were like, whoa, at that time, like, whoa, he's talking about Pamela Anderson, whoa. But yeah, I think that it still in a lot of ways holds up, and I think that it's a really interesting listen and a really cool thing. I don't know how to end that. There was something else I wanted to say. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I couldn't figure it out. So that was my obsession in the beginning of this year. It was on my workout playlist. And also, like, it got to the point, man, where, like, I wanted to buy a t-shirt that I saw with his album cover on it, but I didn't go through with it because I was like, man, I can't go walking around wearing that. I can't go walking around, like, wearing, because like, one of two things is gonna happen. Either people are gonna judge me for openly repping something that's homophobic, because like there's a very big difference between like casually listening to an album and enjoying it and like wearing merch. When you're wearing merch, you're committed, right? So like I didn't go through with it because I was like, people are gonna judge me, people are gonna think that like I don't care about the homophobia shit, they're gonna think that like I condone what this album says. And so that was one aspect to it. And then the other aspect was like the attention this does draw, the compliments I'm gonna get, are from all of the men that are toxic as fuck. From all the men that are toxic. Because guess what? Toxic men love like 3 to 5 things. Here are the 5 things toxic men love. They love old Eminem and just any of this like really aggressively like hyper masculine shit. They love Eren from Attack on Titan. They're like, he's just like me. They love Walter White and they're like, he's just like me for real. That one makes me roll my eyes out of the back of my fucking head. Oh my god. And that's it. Those 3 things. If you are into any of those 3 things, then you're probably toxic. I'm sorry. That's a joke. Hey, guess what? Hey, that's a fucking joke. Chill out. Chill the fuck out. I need to take a break now. I'm going to keep talking about this album for a couple more minutes just because I want to. Where's the track? Where are the albums? Okay. Forgive me for what you're about to see, this is probably going to be too much for some of you, and I know that this is gonna ruffle a lot of feathers. YouTube Music. I'm on YouTube Music. I'm on YouTube Music because I already use YouTube Premium, and guess what? Guess the fuck what? I am not gonna pay another $15 a month for stupid ass Spotify when I already have a free music streaming platform. Make it make sense, people. Why in the fuck will I pay for Spotify when I already have free music? It doesn't make any sense. Yes, the algorithm is better. Yes, it's easier to share with friends, but I don't care about that shit. I just want free shit, and I want to have stuff for free. Also, this is like the other crap that I've been listening to. Cringe. Doja Cat's new album was interesting. Some of it was good, some of it was not. Fuck the Girls is an amazing song, and I will stand on that hill. I will die on that hill. What is the other one that's really popular? Bitch, I said what I said. That song is already overplayed to hell, but I love it. Attention is amazing, and I love all three of those songs because they feel like a throwback to that classic early 2000s 1990s sound, and her lyricism is so fun and creative, and her not giving a fuck attitude I am here for. And like, I think she's canceled or something for some reason. I haven't looked into it. I haven't done research, but like I mentioned before, separating the art from the artist, I love her new vibe. I love her new aesthetic. I love her new music. I am not on the, I miss the old Doja. I didn't give a shit about any of that. But I also just didn't listen to her music when it was more poppy, because that's not really my vibe right now. Going back to this album. So, some of these are just like not real songs because like this is just an intro. My favorite songs on this album are, oh my god, there's so many picks, because they're all like really good songs individually, but they also play really, really well as an album. My favorite songs are The Real Slim Shady, obviously. The Way I Am is good. I love, oh my god, Stan, amazing song. If you don't know, you don't know. But like this song is like amazing. It's amazing, it's amazing, it's amazing, it's amazing. Kill You, I think is great. And I think it's a really, really wonderful opener. And I think it is great for introducing the character of Slim Shady and setting up how threatening he is, which builds up throughout the album and comes to a massive crescendo at the end with Kim. Here's my only critique of the album, right? Well, I have a couple critiques, but here's my main critique. Kim absolutely should have been the last song on the album, and it makes me so mad that it's not. Okay, I just need to make sure that I'm still recording. Am I recording? Okay. Kim should have been the last song on the album because it is so frightening. It gives me chills. It sends a shiver down my spine. And the other thing that is done throughout the album, but especially is effective in this song and in Stan, that I love so much that I had personally never heard before this album, is the use of sound effects. The sound of rain pouring down. Cars passing on the highway, pen to paper, the sound of a cocking a gun, duct tape stretching out, a woman screaming. It escalates, and it's so effective, man. Like, you can close your eyes and see what's going on, but it's still like music, and it's still like really, really like musically, like technically well done. And it's just, I don't know, I think that aspect of it is really, really unique. And I don't remember if I said this earlier in the podcast, but I think that like the fact that it was recorded in such a short amount of time honestly works to the album's benefit, because it is very obviously so cohesive, and it's very obviously like each one of these songs is designed to build up on each other. But going from, like, here's the thing, Under the Influence and Criminal are, like, great songs, but, like, these two need to be fucking swapped. Or Under the Influence, honestly, like, it's a good song, but it's like a little bit like slower paced with a da 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 da. Like, it should have been way earlier, man. It should have been way earlier. And it should have been like, where's the other one? Drug Ballad. Where those should have been like next to each other. And then like, put this up here. And like put Kim and then end with Criminal. Boom. There you go. But it's just like such a drag, man, to go from like Kim, which is like literally terrifying and sends chills down my spine, to like, yeah, you can suck my dick if you don't like my shit. Like, get out of here, man. That's the only thing I don't like. And then the other songs the only songs I don't like just genuinely don't like, are, I don't like Drug Ballad. I don't know. It just, something about the vibe of it is kind of off for me. I don't know. I don't have like an explanation as to why. I just don't like it. And then like, this isn't really a song. This isn't really a song. This isn't really a song. I don't know. But for the most part, I like this album. Now, I'll be frankly honest with you, I don't fucking listen to any of Eminem's other songs at all. I don't care. I mean, I listen to like some of them. Like, I listen to like individual bits and pieces. Like, Rap God is okay, but I don't think it's really saying anything, if that makes sense. It's just kind of like, as a song. Like, and I'm like, okay, but you do that in like all of your other songs and also actually say something interesting. Or like, one song I really love, White America. That's a good song. And it's also like, I think it's a really interesting one too, because it's actually saying something that's like politically motivated, or like, not that everything has to be about politics, because everything is about politics almost too much sometimes, and that might even be controversial to say, but like, that's a song that's actually like trying to like influence and like say, hey, I'm trying to bring attention to this. And that whole album kind of is, I guess. I should get on that album. What is it even called? There's fucking too many of these. I don't like all this new shit. I don't give a fuck about any of this. I never listened to this. I barely listened to this. But like, this, the Eminem Show. Yeah. This song is good. This song's alright. I like this song. I like this song. Oh my god. Without Me, but this is just kind of a bop. That's not really, it's another one of those songs. That's so many of the songs that are just like, they're just like, la 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 la. But you know, I don't know. Anyways, now we're getting into just like Eminem rabbit hole, which is not necessary. But I just wanted to talk about that album because it was kind of my vibe for 2023. Like, for whatever reason, I just became hyper fixated on the Marshall Mathers LP, and it became my thing. Yeah. Anyways. So yeah, and this is all the other shit that I've left likes on that is possibly embarrassing to admit. Ricky Montgomery's new album, it was good. Ricky Montgomery's new album is good, and you should also listen to that. What the fuck is going on with The Weeknd? What is, like, because he did that movie? What is up with that fucking movie that he did, that everybody's talking about? Dawn FM was a great album. And this was, like, so unfortunate, too, is, like, I think The Weeknd is, like, such a good artist, but I think he's, like, starting to go off the rails or something, isn't he? I don't know. Anyways, we don't need to go down any more rabbit holes. I could talk about, like, all of this shit for, like, hours and hours and hours on end. I could just keep going and going and going. But I think that it's about time to end this, wrap this up. I don't know if any of what I just said made any fucking sense at all, but I would love to do another podcast like this and going into depth with, like, a different artist. Because there's a lot more to talk about, clearly. So, yeah. That was episode 2, completely unhinged. I am going insane, dude. I am clinically insane. Okay, that's all for the podcast. I'm bad at ending things. Bye.